What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. The Lansing Journal is a news outlet, if you will, a local paper that covers the Thornton Township community right there in South Holland and thereabouts around in all of the incorporated villages and towns within Thornton Township. And of course, they cover what is going on politically mostly. And they have been doing a great job on covering the reign of the current Thornton Township Supervisor, Tiffany Henyard. Now, here's what is important to know. Tiffany Henyard was elected mayor of Thornton, Illinois. She was not elected as the Thornton Township Supervisor. So the question is, how did she become the Thornton Township Supervisor? I'm going to let the lovely host there explain it, and then we're going to come back.
We're going to start at the beginning, which is not where most people think it is. The story actually begins on January 3 of 2022,
right,
which is the day that then Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli passed away,
right,
unexpectedly.
Yes, we were notified of that on that day, and we were able to talk to folks in the know and publish a story about that on the same day. He had been truly a real figure in the South Suburbs for a very long time.
Right. And that is a significant part of the story because that set in motion everything that happened afterward.
Right.
Because the supervisor passed away, an appointment had to be made to fill his remaining term.
Right.
So it was up to the trustees at that time to meet and put forth candidates and arrive at a decision about who would fill Supervisor Zuccarelli's term.
That's right. That brings us to our next story, Melanie, published on March 1, 2022. Headline, Confusion Marks the Attempted Appointment of Zuccarelli Replacement. This is a story that you wrote.
Yeah, I was at this meeting, and this was, I think, the fifth or sixth meeting that the trustees had gone through since Frank's passing, and they still had not managed to come up with a recommended replacement that they could all agree on.
Yeah.
And there is a deadline for this.
Yeah.
I think they had 60 days, and they were aware of this deadline, and still things went right up to the deadline.
That's right.
So on March 1, they tried again to put forth nominations and agree, and the whole meeting was very confusing, and nothing came out of it. The next meeting happened on March 3.
That's right.
48 hours notice is required whenever you have a public meeting, and so the meeting couldn't start until I think 10:30 or 10:55 in order to fulfill that 48-hour requirement and still accomplish the goal of appointing a supervisor before the midnight deadline.
On March 3. So yes, that started at 10:55. They had exactly an hour and 5 minutes to appoint a new supervisor, because if they didn't, it would go to the larger township public at large would vote for who they wanted to be the next supervisor.
And it was chaos.
Yeah.
And out of that, finally, the ninth person nominated was Tiffany Henyard.
11:48 p.m. Trustee Gonzalez nominated Tiffany Henyard, and we have that video. I believe we are the only video that's been published by the media of that moment, and we'll show it to you.
11:49. So what was the vote? 11:49. I nominate Tiffany Henyard for Township Supervisor.
Now, once she was nominated, obviously they had to make a decision. They had a hard time trying to make the decision. There were 8 other candidates, and so they had to put somebody up there. Of course, to their detriment, Tiffany Henyard was recommended. Now, I want to play how excited she was and how grateful she was to these people for giving her this opportunity.
And she'd just been sworn in, and I asked, can I ask you a couple questions?
Josh
So
got the interview.
I stood there with my camera, and she answered some of my questions. She was very excited.
You've been voted the Thornton Township Supervisor. How do you feel right now?
Oh man, I'm overjoyed. Didn't see it coming. I love it. That means that I am truly blessed and everyone loves me. I love them. Thank you.
It seemed like a surprise to everyone in the room, just a surprise to you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
See, I'm still trembling. Yes.
Let's get to the second meeting. By the second meeting, Tiffany Henyard started making incredible changes to Thornton Township. Let us find out what changes they were.
So we fast forward to the second meeting with Supervisor Henyard as the township supervisor, and the notable thing about that meeting, among a few other things, that she fired 2 people. One was in the Human Resources Department, and one was that was Jessica Jones in the Human Resources Department, and the other was Stephanie Wiedemann, who was the former executive assistant to Frank Zuccarelli. Stephanie had been part of the township for a very, very long time, and was seen, according to Stephanie, was seen by Tiffany Henyard as a critic, as asking too many questions. And there was just a lot of confusion and uncertainty about, wow, why are we fired? The communication was unclear. So early on, there were already some red flags.
That was at meeting number 2.
Correct.
That Supervisor Henyard led.
Right.
Now, here is what I gather from this. Here is what I'm going to say is going to be very controversial. I don't need to play any more clips. We've seen enough of Tiffany Henyard to know what kind of person she is. I would beg to say that those people, and obviously Thornton Township does have a lot of African Americans, so it's not out of the question to have another African American supervisor of the township. I will say, though, that what they have proven here, by giving African American Democratic leaders a chance, what is going to be the talk of the situation is, don't put anybody black up there. Now, people might not want to talk about that. People will not want to mention that. But I can guarantee you that will be the feel amongst residents, even the black ones, okay? That once you give African Americans a chance in politics, they're gonna mess up. They're gonna mess up. They can't do the political job like the whites or somebody else. I can guarantee you that may not, everybody is not saying that, but that is what is being shown. If you give blacks an opportunity, don't be surprised if they turn that opportunity into a circus. Now, we may call that racist as African Americans, and we know that's a stereotype. We got to be mindful not to fall into those stereotypes. What was the original Birth of a Nation movie about? The original Birth of a Nation, directed by D.W. Griffith, depicted a situation, what would happen if you would allow black people into political office. And what do you get? Now, obviously, we know this is not always true. You get a Tiffany Henyard situation. Tiffany Henyard has put a big stain on African American politicians, but it is just not there. Go look at LaToya Cantrell in New Orleans. Look at Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Eric Adams in New York. Eric Adams is when you talk about an idiot, okay? As a politician, you talk about somebody that is so silly, so immature, not as bad as Henyard, but he's ridiculous. What about Fannie Willis as a district attorney, okay? What about Marilyn Mosby, who's begging for a pardon as the former state attorney for Baltimore, Maryland? What are you looking at? You look at the fact that, hey, given the opportunity, Kwame Kilpatrick in Detroit, they can't do the job, and we can't fall into this narrative. And again, it's up to us to stop politically getting people elected that we feel that we like, that we're friends with, that we vibe with. I've heard that people who've met Tiffany Henyard, oh man, she's cool as an icebox, cool as a refrigerator. Oh, you talking about a people's person. She's really, but we like that though. Oh, in the black community, oh, we like, oh my God, we love, oh shit, that person is cool. Oh man, that person is cool. That person don't know what the hell they're doing though. Who care about them being cool? And because we like them so much, and we see it in the black church, well, hey, we don't mind them messing up, long as they cool. Oh, my pastor, cool. Our governor is cool, our mayor is cool. But the guy can't do anything right. Then when everything is destroyed, your future, let me tell you this, when you hire a stupid politician, your kids' futures are at risk. I'm in a continent right now where the future is stolen from these kids before they're born. I'm gonna repeat, the future is stolen from these kids before they're born. Imagine a country like Norway, or even in our country, the future isn't necessarily stolen from you before you're born, like it is over here. But that's bad politics. That's what happens. And we gotta be mindful of that not being that same way. The future of African-American politicians were for them to come in and serve their community. We see too often that these politicians are serving themselves, and once you get an opportunity, it goes, well, the blacks can't do the job. Don't let them, don't let them run for office. And I'm telling you, that has to be how some people feel, especially the blacks, okay? That's who really gonna feel that way. People gonna be like, whoa, well, because they're black don't mean we should vote for them. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all your use, Curtis Bill. We're out.